You can do whatever you want. Okay? Oh, I thought my phone was going to stop me here for a second. All right, so let's get into the next part here. This is the chorus. We got a D chord, a C chord, an F chord, an E minor, and an A minor. All right, so this is the I'm in a rush, I'm a working man part, all right? And that introduces that F chord, like I said. Each chord gets 4 bars. Each chord gets a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2. That shares, those 2 chords share a bar, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I give that A minor chord a little bit of syncopation. So. And I may play on the album, I may double that and play inversions of those chords. I may play that D. This F, the C minor from the beginning, maybe this A minor. So layer those on top of the original chords and pan it a little bit to one side or the other and give it some depth. It sounds like 2 guitar players, and it gives it a little bit of a different feel, some pull in there. All right, this next section here, part 4, the 4th and last section, is the syncopated part from G to A to D. Now that's in 4, but it almost sounds like it's in an odd time signature because I'm playing on the and of you know, I'm not just playing on the 1, the downbeat. I'm not just playing on 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? You've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you could play on the and 1 and 2 and. You can play on those accents, right? So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So if you play on the and, it'd be like 1 instead of you're playing on the and there. So I'm doing that on one of the bars. I'm playing on the and. So let's listen to it in context here. Now, when I'm writing that, I'm just feeling it, right? So call it my natural timing or whatever. I'm feeling it. I'm not thinking about, let me try this on the end of the 4th bar or whatever the case may be. I'm just feeling that groove. And I figure out what it is later. Usually I don't figure it out. Okay? So have fun. Break it up. It's very syncopated. And if you listen to Paul Bieniek playing drums on this, put on the headphones and just single out the drums and listen to this guy. It's off the charts insane. At the very end of the song, notice when we're playing on the out of the song, it's very challenging to keep that going. It would be live. because he's playing all kinds of amazing rhythmic stuff there, all kinds of fills and stuff. And you've got to, as the guitar and bass player, keep that groove going, which is the opposite of what usually happens, right? The drummer is keeping the groove. This time, the stringed instruments are keeping the groove, and Paul is going crazy. So you've got to keep that time in your head, that inner clock, while he's going, you know, doing all that stuff. All right? And of course, this is a tribute to Rush, so he's playing it up, hamming it up on the kit a la Neil Peart. Or Pert, for those of you who grew up in New York, New Jersey, like I did. So there are the 4 parts. Let's talk a little bit about the solo. The solo is interesting because it's made up entirely of Alex Lifeson licks from Rush tunes, right? So what better way to cap off a tribute to Rush song than to have every lick in the solo be based on a Rush tune. So I open it up with the opening lick from Xanadu. Of course, I had to transpose it to the key of this song, but yeah. That's that lick from Xanadu. That's the opening lick of the solo. We'll talk about each of the notes a little bit in a minute. Then I go into YYZ. It's a little play on the melody from YYZ. So I did some squealing in there with the pick there. You know, I pinched those harmonics. Let's see. Then more from the YYZ solo. Okay, I lift that. That's very similar to the solo in YYZ. Then the opening lick to Spirit of Radio. Then Tom Sawyer. Right? Then into La Vila. That lick is in the beginning of That's the La Villa Strangiato lick. And I lift a little part there. Then Hemisphere's lick. And Bastille Day. Bastille Day. So those are 6 or 7 licks that I lifted from Rush to put into the solo. Now, we're in the key of C. We're playing the solo over. Right, again, all power chords. So we're not really saying this is a minor chord or this is a major chord. All right, they're just roots and fives. What defines it as minor or major is what you do with the third. If it's a flatted third, then it's a minor chord. If it's a major third, it's a major chord. We're not adding any extra intervals in there either, like 6th or 7th or 9th. So these are just rock power chords, AC/DC chords, right? Root 5, Judas Priest chords. So that opening lick, starting here on this D to G to A, C sharp, not in the key of C, but it doesn't matter. It's a passing tone. It's a jazz note, okay? It's filler. It's a chromatic note. Now, if I hung on that note, if I went in the solo, there would be some dissonance there. I think it would still be cool, but some people would be like, whoa, what's going on there? But we're just using it to hop to another note. Right? We're doing F sharp to G to D. All in the key, well, they're in the key of G. F sharp is not in the key of C, but we're using it to hop to the G, which is the 5th in C. And then we're ending on the D, which is the 2nd or 9th in C. So all of these notes, you can see how they work against these chords. And by the way, very important, the chords are going by so fast here that the notes really don't have time to sit on one particular chord, which makes it easier to flail around a bit, because by the time your ear says, wait, is that in the key or onto another chord? If I were just hanging on C, some of these notes might stand out a little more as odd. So that's something to think about when you're writing your solos. What's going on behind you? If you've got a lot of chords going on, if you play a single scale over all those chords, generally tends to work really well because the chords are going by so fast, people can't tell what's happening. Anyway, there's a lot I'd like to say on that, but I'll save that for another time. I also have some lessons available. If you go to my YouTube page here, you'll find some theory lessons and some soloing lessons that I put together that people seem to really like. Maybe that'll be helpful for you as well. So those are the Lifeson licks. We could go through each lick and look at the notes, and if we did, you'd see this. C sharp pops up quite a bit. And we're in the key of C. That's a minor second, right? C. Like Jaws. So this is, it's a very ominous sounding, right? That minor second comes up in the solo here and then. But like I said, the chords are flying by. You would never really hear it as a minor second to C. So you could almost get away with any notes when the chords are moving like that. All right? A la jazz. I know they're thinking about what they're doing, but you could get away with a lot of notes in jazz as long as you start on and end on, land on chord tones, the good notes, the notes that are in the chords themselves that you're landing on, the chord that you're landing on. Okay, so that's enough for the solo. Like I said, the vocal melody is coming out of this A minor. You could play the A minor over the whole solo section and you would see. Let me do that. Let me just play the solo section for you. And I'll just play A minor pentatonic licks and C major licks instead of the Lifeson licks. And you'll see that A minor would have worked great over those chords as they're going by. I mean, I haven't written anything. I'm just going to improvise so you can hear the notes against the backing track. This is also a drum machine, not Paul playing the drums here. All right, so here we go. All right, here it is. A minor pentatonic. C major. I threw in a little G mixolydian to spice it up a little bit. Well, I think that's about it for this tune. In a Rush from the Now Playing album, which is available on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, your sister's ass, whatever else is out there. And like I said earlier, I'm going to go through each tune on the album, make one of these videos. I used an Gibson ES335 for the entire album. I probably have some Strat on there too, here and there, but I'm using the SG for this demonstration. Also, I wrote a book a couple of years ago called Thoughts from a Guitar Player, and it has a lot of the way I think and write in the book. I'll put the link down below for that as well. You can get it on Amazon in softcover or Kindle version. Selling really well. I don't advertise it much, but it's anecdotal. It's full of stories about how I started playing guitar, funny stories about music stores, what I love about them, what I hate about them, what kind of picks I use, what's the difference between picks, what's the difference between certain gauges of strings and sets of strings, how do you write a song, how do you record it at home, what are effects and what effects do what, which effects do what. I mean, I don't think there's anything about guitar playing that isn't in the book. I've got little sections on my favorite players and why they're my favorite players, recommending music to listen to, There are whole section on guitar jokes in there. I mean, it's really like a mini encyclopedia on guitar playing, talking about the difference between store-bought guitars and custom guitars and why, the aesthetics of a guitar, what each part of the guitar does. There's a whole chapter on music theory so that you can learn how to solo better if you need that. It's a great book to buy for your guitar playing friends. I also need the money desperately, so help a brother out. Come on! That's it for this lesson. In a rush, Frank Speer, want to thank you very much for taking time out of your precious life to pay attention to me for a little while. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please drop a comment below and let me know, or you can tell me to F off. Either way, say something. Thanks, guys and gals.